Hey, what's going on? It's Inventor here, with my Blizzard Sorcerer in Diablo 4 Season 9. I just cleared Pit 55 to unlock Torment 4, so I wanted to share my build with you in case anyone was struggling to reach the endgame with the Blizzard Sorcerer. In this build guide, I'm going to cover my character, abilities, progression, and other relevant information. So first I'll talk about my gear. Gear. For my weapon temper, I wanted chance for ice spikes to deal double damage. That's because ice spikes are where most of Blizzard's damage really comes from. Then for offensive tempers, I would have used crit strike damage, but long story short, I wasn't able to roll for it during this run. My defensive temper is typically just maxing out total armor and resistances. Utility temper is Blizzard size, and mobility temper would be teleport cooldown reduction if I were using legendary boots. As for gear affixes, in general, I was looking for intelligence preferably as a GA, and max life so I could live longer. I wanted to get other damage modifiers too, like crit chance or ranks to a passive like permafrost. And obviously, resistance and armor affixes to reach the cap of 75% resists and 1000 armor are a great help too, of course. For my weapon, I ran a two-handed staff that has GA intelligence and glacial aspect. Glacial aspect is a core aspect for this build since it's the main way to spawn ice spikes with Blizzard, and since it's on a two-hander, the base damage on the ice spike spawned from this gets doubled too. On my helm, I have Snow Guard's aspect with int, armor, GA, max life. Blizzard enchantment has very little downtime, so it works really well with Snow Guard's aspect to grant up to a 35% damage reduction. My chest armor is Juggernauts with GA int. I also got max life and fire res on this for more survivability. Eventually, I want to switch over to Raiment since Raiment gives ranks of glass cannon, but I haven't been able to find a good one yet. I'm using gloves that have Frozen Wake with int, attack speed, and crit chance. So with this aspect, the more ice spikes I generate, the stronger the ice spikes become, up to 90% multiplicative damage boost. On my pants, I have Mind's Awakening with resistances. This aspect is pretty nuts since I can always generate barrier just by casting Blizzard. As you can see here, my Blizzard is going off and my barrier is just going up. That's because of Mind's Awakening. By the way, in case you're wondering why these pants are non-ancestral, just know that somehow I wasn't able to get good GA pants before reaching Torment 4. My boots are Penitent Greaves, mostly to get more damage from the unique effect, but the other stats on it are alright. My amulet is GA int with Frozen Memories aspect. Having GA intelligence is great, but instead of max life and crit chance, I would have preferred ranks of glass cannon, permafrost, etc. if I had enough gold to keep rerolling the affix on it. My first ring here is Blue Rose. This unique is a must-have for ice spikes. All of its affixes are useful, but the one that really stands out is the last one, which is chance for ice spikes to explode twice. I think Blue Rose is the only item in the game that can get this affix, and even weapon tempers are chance for ice spikes to do double damage, not explode twice. Plus, it has a chance to spawn its own ice spikes on lucky hit too. So, you need this item, ideally with GA and masterworking rolls on double damage. And ring number 2 is, of course, Tal-Loop. The unique effect alone gives up to 75% multiplicative damage, but again, all of its affixes are useful too. When it comes to sockets, I run topazes in my armor for intelligence, runewords in my pants and weapon, and gems in my jewelry to round out my resistances. I wanted to use horadric jewels like Scornful Light to get even more damage, but I didn't have enough gem fragments. For my rune words, I used whichever runes I had. So in this case, I had Kurgar on my pants to get 25% crit chance after casting 5 skills, and Neolum on my weapon to refill 140 mana every 2 seconds as long as I don't take health damage. Thanks to Mind's Awakening aspect, my sorcerer is always barriered, so Neolum pretty much always keeps me at full mana. Finally, for elixirs and incense, as usual, I run life, stats, armor, and resistances. Horadric powers. My catalyst is Cosmic Anomaly on Hydra because Hydra has no cooldown. So whenever anomalies are up, which is like every 5 seconds, I can cast Hydra to activate my Arcanas. My infusion is Glacial Nimbus so that the anomalies inherit my cold damage and modifiers, amping up their damage immensely. My Arcanas are Bloody Charm for Execute, Fractured Core to disable damage resistance aura, especially in the pit, and Potent Alloy to destroy enemy barriers. Skills. Now, I'm not going to go over every individual point that I put into my skill tree, but what I can say is that I picked up a lot of passive modifiers that boosted my damage, and a lot of passive modifiers that increased my survivability through things like damage reduction. But the one passive that I'm going to mention is the key passive, that being Avalanche. And Avalanche reduces my mana costs on frost skills and boosts their damage as well, and further boosts it against enemies who are vulnerable. On my skill bar, I run Hydra, Ice Armor, Frost Nova, Deep Freeze, Blizzard, and Teleport. The skill rotation is pretty simple. Teleport to reposition yourself and trigger Tal Loop's damage bonus. Activate Frost Nova to freeze and do more damage. Ice Armor for more damage to frozen enemies. Hydra to max out Tal Loop's damage bonus and activate Cosmic Anomaly. And then spam Blizzard. I also recast Hydra every now and then to reset the max bonus on Tal's Loop and to use the effects from Horadric powers. Finally, there's Deep Freeze, which you can use before spamming Blizzard to get more damage. So in this case, I could activate Deep Freeze, use Teleport, Hydra, and then start casting Blizzard to get more damage. But I usually prefer holding on to Deep Freeze as a get out of jail free card in case I'm about to die. Lastly, I have the enchantments Frozen Orb and Blizzard. Blizzard spawns a blizzard over me. Frozen Orb has a chance to proc whenever I cast Blizzard, which is my main source of vulnerable outside of Frost Nova. Because both of my enchantments are cold-based, I get 60% more multiplicative damage from Enchantment Master on my Paragon boards too. Speaking of which, Paragon. I'm Paragon level 188 now, but at the time I ran Pit 55 to unlock Torment 4, I used exactly 150 Paragon points, which is roughly Paragon level 125 or so with the renown rewards. I ran the starting board with the Destruction Glyph, Enchantment Master with the Eliminator Glyph, Icefall without a glyph, Frigid Fate with Stalagmite Glyph, and Fundamental Release without a glyph. Destruction gives crit strike damage, and I got it to rank 46 for its legendary bonus first. I had Eliminator Glyph for more damage to elites, and I ran Stalagmite to get more crit chance for my ice spikes. If I had more glyph sockets available, I would have also run the glyphs Elementalist and Tactician too. Mercenaries. For my hard mercenary, I used Subo for his Seeker minimap reveal. Yes, I'm actually running Subo for once, not Rahir. That's because this build can reach 1000 armor and 75% resistances pretty easily, even without Rahir's bonuses. Subo can also give 30% more dot damage and 20% more lucky hit chance from his other skills. For my reinforcement, I run Aldkin for Field of Languish's damage reduction whenever I get CC'd. Progression. From level 1 to 60, I was able to do the full leveling process in just over 3 hours. The way I pulled this off was by starting my character off without the Vessel of Hatred campaign completed, and then running through the campaign on normal mode from 1 to 60 after doing the first quest on the seasonal quest line. You always need to do at least the first quest on the seasonal quest line because it unlocks the seasonal reputation board and opens up horadric powers. If you can't or don't want to do the Vessel of Hatred campaign leveling, then the alternative I recommend would be running Hell Tides from 1 to 50 and Strongholds from 50 to 60. On normal difficulty, Blizzard has great AoE and does decent damage while leveling, making it easy to collect Aberrant Cinders in the Hell Tides. To get the most XP out of your Cinders, switch the difficulty from normal to Penitent and open Tortured Gifts towards the end of each hour. You can also go through the seasonal quest line while leveling for some decent XP too. When you reach level 50, that is when it's time to clear all of the strongholds, which should get you from 50 to 60 in an hour or so. Make sure to turn in your renown rewards at level 59 to get the most value out of your renown rewards. Now we can talk about going from Torment 1 to 4. When you reach Torment 1, if you leveled via the Vessel of Hatred campaign, first talk to Ormus to pick up a set of equipment with 750 or greater item power. Otherwise, it's time to gear up with some caches from the Reputation rewards that you can pick up in Karagar. The Reputation caches should give you some Nightmare dungeons with Horadric Strongrooms, so just run the Strongrooms to unlock whichever powers you need and max them out accordingly. By the time you use up your Horadric Strongroom Nightmare Sigils, you should also get enough XP for an extra Paragon board or two, and be strong enough to reach Torment 2. When you reach Torment 2, you'll probably need to run a lot of Whispers to get pretty much everything, really. Whisper rewards will grant you guaranteed glyphs, tempering recipes, items, and most importantly, boss mats. Even if you don't get upgrades for your equipment, you may pick up any offensive aspects that you don't already have, especially glacial aspect. With that said, Whispers give you mats to run Varshan. In this case, it would be Malignant Hearts, who drops Talloop and Raiment in particular. Varshan also gives mats to run Duriel with, and Duriel's the one that drops Blue Rose. Alternatively, you could try using whatever obols you have to try and gamble for Talloop or Blue Rose. Either way, I recommend having these two unique rings, along with at least 3 legendary nodes on your Paragon board before attempting Torment 3. Note that if any activities are still too difficult to run on Torment 2, you can set it back down to Torment 1 while farming. But when turning in Whispers, always switch the difficulty to the highest Torment tier possible to maximize your rewards. That brings us to Torment 3. By now, you should have most, if not all, of your uniques. Turn in any remaining reputation or season journey caches to get materials like Obdicite and switch out your gear for ancestrals as best you can. Once you do this, the Obdicite from reputation caches and nightmare dungeons should allow you to masterwork your gear to at least rank 4. And then you start running the pit to level up your character and glyphs, which should enable you to become strong enough to reach Torment 4. There you have it, folks. This has been my Blizzard Sorcerer. Some of you might be Sorcerer enjoyers, others might be Blizzard enjoyers. But whatever the case, it's a really fun build that has a bit of everything in it, including damage, AoE, CC, and is surprisingly tanky. I hope this helps. If you made it this far, then a like, comment, or a subscribe is always appreciated. But otherwise, that's all from me. Thanks everyone for watching. Venture out.